Hello everybody, Grizzly Pig here. Welcome to today's video. We are playing Ark Survival Ascended, and today's video is going to be my top 10 early to mid-tier dinosaurs that I think are a must-have to help you through your progression in the game. They're going to cover different areas, whether it's a farming, utility, or fighting or taming, all that sort of thing. We're going to cover many different bases here. I'm going to talk about why I think they are the best, and maybe there's going to be some things that you didn't know about the dinosaurs, but let's get straight into it and see what we got. So, in the number 10 slot, kicking off first of all, we have the Oviraptor. Get yourself a pair of these as soon as you can, male and female preferably. These things boost the amount of eggs that your other dinosaurs will drop. So when you start getting dinos and collecting eggs for your kibble farm, these things are amazing for that. But not only do they boost that drop rate, they also collect eggs, as you can see here, in their inventory if you set them up right. And the more you level these into melee, the larger the radius of egg capture they can get, so they can pick up more eggs in a larger area. And to simply set this up, you hold E on the Oviraptor and then go to 1 o'clock on the radial wheel, and you have a choice of collecting unfertilized eggs, fertilized eggs, or both of fertilized or unfertilized. And the great thing about them collecting fertilized eggs is that you don't have to be there when the eggs pop. You can just simply decide what time you want to drop eggs each day, collect them off the Oviraptor and drop them in your nursery area and do things that way. So this is a top tier early game, first day even dinosaur. They're very quick to knock out and tame, and you don't even need a high level one particularly. Just pump all of its points into melee until you've got the effect you want with its radius. Moving on, and in the number 9 slot here, this guy is technically not a dinosaur, of course, but we have the dung beetle. Now, it was a toss-up for me whether in this slot I chose the giant bee or the dung beetle, and for the reason for that is because this is a utility dinosaur. This is going to help you set up your crop farm and get your kitchen running and help you with that kibble ultimately. So super important dinosaur, pairs really well with the Oviraptor in that same field. And this guy, you can see here, if I go into his inventory, he is just stacked out with fertilizer. Look at this, he is slot capped. In fact, he's probably going to die if I don't take some of this fertilizer off him and let him stack himself up with some feces, because that's what this guy eats. You don't ever have to feed him. As long as you just keep taking the fertilizer off, he will be able to feed himself. He also produces oil as well. You don't have to get yourself a high level one of these. What you really need to do is just level in weight, and then put this guy in the middle of all your dinosaurs, set him onto wandering, I believe, and then he's going to collect fertilizer for you, and then in less than a day you're going to be stacked out with fertilizer. You're going to have no problem filling all your crop plots. If you've got like 20 to 30 of them, this guy's going to fill them all up super easy for you. So the dung beetle, everybody. Moving on. And in the number 8 slot we have the otter. Technically not a dinosaur, but the reason this is such a great tame is because this guy can hold artifacts for you. No other dinosaur can do that. You can only hold one artifact of each type. So this guy, stick him on your shoulder and pick him up with E like this, and to put him down you just throw him back down with F if you want to do that. So once he's on your shoulder, you can go into his inventory, hold R, and then find the otter, click on him, inventory, and here you see this one can hold 12 artifacts. He's got some nice points in weight here, but a wild one will do you well. They're super easy to tame. There's a bug sometimes with the fish when you pick them up and give it to the otter when taming. That can be a bit annoying, but a low level otter will be fine. Get a bunch of them as well, just in case you lose them for whatever reason, because you are going to be taking these into caves. And these guys are great because when you go into a cave, every time you do like a quick run or whatever, instead of coming back with one artifact, you can take at least 2 back, the way the artifacts spawn. When you loot it, if one hasn't been looted for a while, another one will soon after refresh and spawn again. It's like saves up a spawn. or you can just sit in the cave, AFK, watch some Netflix, do some work on your computer, whatever you're doing, and then every 5 minutes or so thereafter you've got the first two, you can collect another one. Keep doing that, come back with a ton of artifacts, or go to the next cave. Don't even have to go back to base or whatever, just keep doing all the caves. This is a crazy tame. Get a bunch of these if you want to do your bosses and you want to make it super easy to get those artifacts. Anyway, moving on. And in the number 7 slot we have the anglerfish. So this guy is an absolute beast at collecting silica pearls. So you can see here, my one is, I'm not going to lie, very good. He has 50 points in melee, and I've also dumped all of my points into melee that he has got from leveling. It brings him to just below 1,000 melee damage. So let's take him out and see what he can do. I've got some pearls around me here now. We're just going to chomp those to see how many silica pearls we can get. This is probably not the best spot to go farming silica pearls. We can see there we've got just over 50 in one bite. And again. So we got about a couple of hundred there just from biting 4 silica pearls. So if you go to a nice spot where there are lots more of them, you can find silica pearls usually on the bottom of the ocean in certain places or in the corals. You can get quite a lot of them. This is in 1 times. We are on the official server, so 1 times right there, and you can see these things are pretty quick as well. They're very easy to breed. They only take a couple of days to raise fully to adulthood, so if you want an imprinted one, that's not going to take you very long at all. Taming them is not so hard. If you get yourself on a tame like a baryonyx or something like that, you can shoot off the back of it and knock them out quite easily. They take regular kibble to tame. On to the next one. And next up we have the Pelagornis. So this thing is crazy at getting polymer. If you don't like farming hard polymer, well, with this thing you don't actually need to, because this thing gathers organic polymer like a beast. If you come to the map right in the upper left hand corner in the snow biome, you can see this island in the top left here. We're going to go there, and to the other islands follow it down the south, and we are going to basically eat the penguins. You want to get the babies, the juveniles and the adolescents. The adults don't give you that much organic polymer. So you can see my Pelagornis here. I have bred this thing. It's 100% imprinted. Again, like the anglerfish, they are very quick to raise, so not too hard to get an imprinted one if you've got a breeding pair. Very easy to tame as well. They're very quick to knock out, and I think again they eat regular kibble. This one, you can see the stats are pretty decent. They're not crazy. We got 50 weight, that's the best one there. 47 melee. I've dumped all of my points into melee. I recommend you do the same, because it's going to make killing the penguins a lot quicker, and you will get more organic polymer. These things also can ride on the surface of the water, and I'm not sure if this is true, but it seems to me that when you are riding on the water you use less stamina. But that could just be me making that up, but I'm going to do it anyway. So here we are on the first island, and there are usually on each of these islands 2 or 3 places where the penguins are going to spawn in clusters. So we can see in the distance there are some penguins, and we're just going to bite until we get some polymer. And this is again 1 times. At the weekend you're going to get a lot more. So if you want to do things like you want to craft anything that uses an awful lot of polymer, you can wait till the weekend if you really want to, and then like a shotgun that takes, like a printed one that might take 1500 to 2000 polymer, you can come here and gather that really quickly, have all of the rest of the materials ready for crafting, take all of this back to the base, and do it ever so quickly. You don't have to farm polymer, you can just do this instead for a fraction of the time. there we go. We've done a couple of packs there, and you can see that we've got quite a lot of polymer. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 400 just over. And there are other islands across there. As I mentioned earlier, you can do the other 2 or 3 islands south of us here to get more polymer. So that is that, the Pelagornis, top tier organic polymer farmer. Next up, we have the Megaloceros, the deer, the stag, the moose, whatever you want to call it. This thing is absolutely nuts. It is a crazy thatch farmer, if that's what you want to use it for. It is absolutely one of the fastest ground tames in the game. You see here, when you jump, you just go like crazy. Before I had access to teleports and stuff like this, I would use a Megaloceros with some decent weight in it and stamina to go and collect all my goods from the caves that I'd got. I had some little fobs up. It just flies across the map like nothing. It is really crazy. This thing is also viable for caves as well. You can take this into the lava cave because its damage arc is a bit better than some of the other choices. It's not as good as some other choices as far as damage is concerned, but it can definitely handle itself. Take a decent saddle with you if you are going to do that. The one thing that I like this tame for the most though, and the reason it's made it into the list, is its capability of doing the dragon boss. If you saw my last video with the Alpha Dragon, we duoed the Alpha Dragon using swords, and we were on the back of Megaloceroses. It is the #1 choice for me. They can eat veggie cakes to heal themselves up, put 20 of them on the tame if you are going to go and do the Alpha Dragon. So next up on our list is the Rex, an unsurprising entry in the #4 slot here. And this thing is so great because it is actually a utility dinosaur as well as going to do damage for you in bosses. The reason I say it's great for utility is because you want to get as many of these as possible. Females that are going to drop eggs for you, just tame low level ones, as many as you can to get your exceptional kibble farm started off. These are great damage. The Rex is pretty much going to be the highest damage tame you are able to take into the bosses. You can't take Gigas, you can't take Karchers. So their damage scaling is better than most other options you have there. If you have a bunch of these in the Alpha Monkey, 18 of them, and you take a Daedon and a Uti. If you've got decent stats, 40k HP, 600 plus melee, you are going to do the monkey boss easily on Alpha. And with the same Rexes, you can even do the Alpha Brood Mother. Make sure you have saddles over 100, 110 in armor, at least I would recommend. And I would say get the stats up. You probably want 45 to 50k HP for the Alpha Brood Mother there, but it can do it. There is a better obvious choice than Megatherium, but if you're thinking about efficiency and you are breeding Rexes anyway, then you can do both of these bosses pretty easily. I wouldn't take these into the Dragon boss because they don't last long at all. That's a big mistake in my opinion. So the Rex is absolutely one of the best tames you can get in the game. Get as many of them as early as you can, low level females, and look out for high level ones as well for your breeding also. And so we're in the top 3 now, and here at the #3 slot we have the Utyrannus. This is an absolute must if you are doing bosses and you're using a lot of tames to get the boss down. And the reason that is true is because this thing will buff all of your other dinosaurs in the boss arena. We're not in a boss now, but you can see we've got a bunch of Allosauruses, and if we use the tertiary attack, you can see that the Utyrannus does a roar, and it's got quite a big range. And the reason that's significant is because that means that you don't actually need a Utyrannus with loads of HP. A wild one will do, as long as it's got a decent amount of stamina and an okay amount of health. Anyone will do. You just stay back away from the boss and let your other dinosaurs do the tanking and deal the damage. The buff, once you get it to full, and you have to roar a few times for this to happen. You can see the wheel above the aloes heads has disappeared, and they are glowing now. That means their buff is full. It is a 25% increase to the damage and a 25% increase to resistance, damage resistance, which is huge in the boss fights. So this tame is an absolute must. They are not the quickest thing to tame, although now it is incredibly easy to get prime meat. So you can just go around lapping up the babies around the area and collecting prime meat there. It will tame with that. So get yourself a mediocre level Uteranus if you don't have one already, and you have everything else you need for the bosses. Absolute must have. And moving on to the number 2 spot, we have the Dinosaur. This is absolutely a crazy tame, and it is a multi-use, so this is absolutely crazy at farming. I'm just going to level it up some at the minute. Not got much melee damage on this one. In fact, I think I pumped some points into weight because I'm using this one primarily for farming. I'm just going to show you what this thing is like. It's got 3 attacks, so the tertiary attack is absolutely top tier for getting berries, and then you've got the right click here, and that's going to farm you fibre, and the right hand attack is going to get you wood. So basically, depending on what you want to farm, you've got 3 different attacks to choose from there. So absolutely an amazing all-round farmer. You get lots of different things depending on what you want. And the other reason this tame is also absolutely amazing is because it is top tier for the dragon boss. If you are not using the shotgun technique or the sword technique and you want to take tames, this is probably the most solid option you can choose, because these things take reduced fire damage, which is a big thing. You can take anything into the dragon boss and pump as much HP as you want into it, but it really doesn't matter because that fire damage is going to be HP based percentage. So this thing is a great counter for that. They do great damage. It's not scaling as well as the Rex, but they do good damage, and a bunch of these are going to be able to take down the dragon. They're pretty solid, and they can eat the veggie cakes as well to heal themselves, as far as I know. So the Therizinosaur, absolutely top tier dinosaur. These can be tamed on berries. I don't recommend that. You should really try and use the kibble. So they're not an entry level tame, but do this in 2 times and get yourself some Therizinosaurs at the weekend, and you'll have a pretty easy ride there. They're very common as well to find around the world in the jungle regions as well. So there we have it, the Therizinosaur. Moving on. So now finally we are on to the number 1 slot, and I wonder if you can guess what it is. Well, I'm going to tell you. It is the Barry Onyx. As you can see here, we got a beautiful event colour Barry, and this guy, he is a really good one. He's got just under 1500 melee. He's been bred and he's got some mutations in melee on him. He's got just under 8k HP. I recommend you try, if you've got one that isn't mutated the hell out of in melee, to go for more than that. Maybe go to 10 to 12k HP, depending on what you want to use these things for, okay? But a wild one can certainly get in around that area with the HP. I would stress that this is a tame you should tame on day 1 if you can. You are going to use this so much. This thing can meat farm. I could make an hour-long video on how amazing this dinosaur is, but I haven't got an hour, so I'm going to go through things as quick as I can. So you can meat farm on this. You can go underwater. He does not have oxygen stats, so he can just go forever underwater, which means that you can tame things like mosasauruses, your anglerfish, all of the things I've mentioned above, most of them, certainly in the last 5 slots on this list. You will use a baryonyx to
tame those if you have one, because you can shoot off the back of the saddle with your crossbow or your long neck rifle and just knock things down that way. Your Rexes, your Uteranus, and as I say, Mosasaurus, Plesios, you can even use it to tame those as well if you want to. So yeah, great for farming, meat farming. You can take it in the water. The only place you cannot take this thing is in the air, unfortunately. But everywhere else in the game, you can take this into bosses if you want to. Like you can take it to the dragon if you're using the shotgun method. Maybe wouldn't recommend the sword method because it can't heal itself in the arena at least. And while we're talking about healing, this thing has the best heal in the game. It heals itself in the water. When it eats fish, it will heal itself up. And every time this thing kills something, it eats the body instantly. You don't have to do another bite to loot the body. So another great thing going for it as far as meat running is concerned. We're going to run this thing through a cave now, because this is another great thing that these are amazing at, doing the caves. This thing can do any cave in the game. I would say arguably I wouldn't take it into the hard underwater cave, but you can do the easy one on the west side of the map, because what you would do if I was doing it on a Barry is halfway down where there's all of the spawns and the hard stuff to fight, take a shotgun and pull it onto the land area. You can't do that in a hard underwater cave, I don't think, because there's nowhere really to sit your Barry on in safety. But yeah, so you can do nearly all of the caves. This is the swamp cave here we are doing. You're not going to be doing this cave on day one, because I think you need to be level 85 to have access to the gas mask. So you can see that I am naked aside from the gas mask. I would recommend, if you are doing the snow cave, that you don't go in with a Baroness that's got less than 15k HP, and you prioritise that over going straight for melee damage. So there we are, and another drop spawned there, so that's the two here. I think there's going to be another drop on the left as well, hopefully, that I missed. Yep, just here. So there is another part of the cave I like to clear as well that's got a blue drop usually, but I'm not going to bother doing that just because it's going to take too much time. I'm going to go straight over and show you the healing with this thing. Another great thing about the snow cave as well, if you are in there with a baryonyx and you've got the right stats and all that stuff, is that you can heal the Barry with the fish in there, because there are little ponds every now and then of fish, so you can use those to heal it up. So now I'm done. I'm going to get back on the teleporter and just go to a spot I know that has loads of fish. I'm going to take my gas mask off because I don't want to run the durability low on that. You can see we've got some pretty nice drops there. You're going to get your flak and your shotgun and your long neck blueprints from that cave, most likely. That's the swamp cave we just did there, in the redwoods, that is. So you see, right click in the water, it does a 360 spin, and it also stuns. So anything in the water apart from alphas, you're going to stun if you hit them. We're just in a river full of fish, and you can see that we just healed up like so quickly. There is not a heal in the game that is any better than that, a self-heal. The Daedon can heal multiple things, but it is extremely slow. The RG has a heal when it kills things, but this is the absolute quickest heal in the game. and that's why this tame has made it onto the #1 slot for me. They are quick to breed as well. They take a couple of days. So absolutely amazing tame. The best tame in the game, arguably. So that's my list, my top 10 best dinosaurs in the game for early to mid game. I know the Therizinosaur and the Uteranus, you might not be able to get those on day one, but if you want them, then you certainly can get them in your first week easily enough there. Let me know what you think of this list in the comments there. If you agree, if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. It'd help the channel out a great deal. And I will see you guys next time.